Complicated father-son dynamics. It's a trope significantly older than anime. It's a trope as old as literature, with some of the most key examples of it being Luke in Darth Vader, or Naruto in Minato, or Luffy in Dragon. For as long as there has been fathers in anime, they have had complicated relationship with their sons or daughters. So while the complicated relationship between a father and a son was not created by anime, let's be real, anime probably does it best. And relatively recently, it was revealed to us that JJK is no exception to that rule. Well, obviously, the relationship between Megami and Toji Fushiguro is anything but uncomplicated. That's actually not the father-son relationship we're going to be talking about today. And in fact, the relationship we're going to be talking about today isn't actually even a father-son relationship. Well, it is, and it isn't. That's because today we're talking about Yuji Itadori, and Yuji's relationship with his father, or his mother, depending on how you look at it. Because today we're gonna explore a theory that's quickly becoming much less a theory and more just a fact, that Kenjaku, the main bad guy of JJK outside of Sukuna, is actually Itadori's father, or mother, parent. And if Kenjaku, arguably one of the strongest and most evil sorcerers of all time, is Itadori's father, what does that mean for Itadori? Why would Kenjaku go so far as to have Itadori? What are Kenjaku's plans, and how did all this come to be? Now, obviously today we are heading into spoiler territory, and there's really no way to talk about this topic without spoiling things. I will try my best to avoid spoilers to the best of my abilities, but at the end of the day, we are talking about things happening in the manga pretty much currently. So proceed with caution. Before we get to proceeding anywhere, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. But please proceed without caution over to my brand new anime podcast, Otaku's Anonymous, where me and Danny Mata break down everything that happened in anime this week. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But before we get into all that, guys, today we gotta talk about a brand new sponsor to the page, Raycon earbuds. I've been wanting to work with Raycon for a long time. I found Raycon earbuds years ago when I was on a weight loss journey. I was looking for headphones that would stay in my ears during runs and also deliver incredible sound. And I hated tangling with cords. And Raycon earbuds fixed all of those problems for me at an affordable price point. I was able to bump my workout music without worrying about my headphones dying, falling out, or being subpar quality, all at half the price of other premium earbuds. Meaning you don't even have to choose between Raycon's numerous products. You get 2 pairs for the price of one of the other guys. And listen, I have destroyed other earbuds because I sweat so much at the gym. But that was never the case with Raycon earbuds. These are the most durable, water and sweat resistant earbuds I've ever used. I've accidentally left them outside in the rain. I've dropped them in puddles. I've run them through the washing machine. I've worked out with them for years, and never have they broken on me. And unlike with other brands, Raycons are available in a variety of different colors, like carbon black, or electric blue, or rose gold. Every Raycon product also comes with 3 customizable sound profiles, earbud tap functions, noise isolation, awareness mode, custom gel tips for a perfect in-ear fit, and 8 hours of battery time on a full charge. So what do you guys say? Are you ready to buy something small with a big impact? Click the link in my description or go to buyraycon.com/weebcommander to get 15% off your order today. I mean, come on, look at the packaging on these. It's sleek, it's sexy, it fits in your pocket. And when I tell you that these things do not come out, I'm telling you, they do not come out. Doesn't matter how intense the workout is, nothing. I could shake like this for an hour straight, and these things are locked in. So today's theory revolves around a couple of key terms that I'm gonna have to sit down and explain to you. On top of that, I'm also probably gonna have to explain who Kenjaku is, because some of you probably are uninitiated. But to open up this theory, let's keep it simple. This theory, in its most basal, watered-down form, tells us that Itadori is a cursed womb, meaning that technically Itadori is half cursed spirit and half human. Now, for anime-only watchers, you've seen what a cursed womb is. The 2 entities that Nobara and Yuji kill towards the end of season 1. You know, when Nobara starts throwing nails through her own wrist, the thing with the mohawk and the face on its back, and then the other weird blob entity. Those are cursed wombs, specifically cursed womb death paintings. In order for you to better understand this theory, I'm gonna go ahead and explain what a cursed womb is, because it is a bit more complicated than just being half cursed spirit, half human. See, as it currently stands, there is 9 cursed womb death paintings. There There are 9 special grade cursed objects which are currently in the possession of JJK High, and they're created by mixing the blood of a cursed spirit with a human. Now, the cursed wombs that we saw Yuji and Nobara fight against were broken out of JJK High during the assault on JJK High, as the true objective of the assault on JJK High was to steal cursed objects from the vaults of JJK High. But like I've already stated, knowing what 2 parts you need to mix together to create a cursed womb doesn't give you the full picture of what it actually is. So I'm going to quickly dive into the history of cursed wombs and how they came to be. So during the Meiji period, which is ironically when Demon Slayer takes place from 1868 to 1912 in Japan, there was a woman with a special genetic composition. A composition so special that she was able to give birth to children that were half human, half cursed spirit. However, because her family was disgusted by the fact that she essentially gave birth to a cursed spirit, they threw her out of the family. Not really knowing where to go, she fled to a temple where jujutsu sorcerers resided. And it's at this point that she had the grave misfortune of running into Noritoshi Kamo. Now, Noritoshi Kamo was referred to as one of the most evil jujutsu sorcerers of all time. And it wasn't until recently that we understood why Kamo was so evil, as Noritoshi Kamo came from a relatively famous jujutsu family and wasn't that evil. That is, until he ran into Kenjaku. See, right about here is where we're heading into spoiler territory, because explaining who Kenjaku is a walking spoiler. See, Kenjaku is the primary antagonist of Jujutsu Kaisen. I've already said that. He is an ancient sorcerer who's dedicated to trying to evolve humanity through the use of cursed energy, aka he wants every single human to be able to manipulate cursed energy. He wants a world of jujutsu sorcerers. The reason that he wants this is because cursed energy users don't emit any cursed energy. And since cursed energy users are able to control their cursed energy output, that would result in no more cursed energy going out into the world, and therefore no more cursed spirits. He's been alive since the Heian period, which was about 1,000 years ago and was considered the golden age of jujutsu. Kenjaku's curse technique allows him to transfer his brain into other bodies to control their consciousness, which has in essence made him immortal. And roughly 150 years before the events of JJK, he took over Noritoshi Kamo's body, which is why Noritoshi Kamo was known as one of the most evil sorcerers of all time, because he was being controlled by somebody who was inherently very evil. And that's not the last time we're going to talk about Kenjaku. So Kenjaku, using Noritoshi Kamo as a flesh mech, took this woman into the temple. However, instead of helping this woman, he decided to make her and her baby prisoners so he could study them. Noritoshi Kamo proceeded to impregnate this woman 9 times and force her to have 9 abortions. Yeah. The manga gets dark. But every single one of these aborted wombs became a death womb painting, of which there was 9. And at some point, Tokyo Jujutsu High acquired all 9 of these paintings, which they hid in their vault behind Tengen's barrier. However, during the invasion during the Goodwill event, Mahito broke into the vault and stole cursed wombs 1 through 3. I know I said earlier they stole all of them, it was actually only the first 3. After stealing these 3 cursed objects, Mahito and Geto gave them flesh and blood bodies, creating Eso, Chekizu, and Choso. Now, Chekizu and Eso were the cursed wombs that Nobara and Yuji killed, while Choso has been hinted at in the anime, but plays a very vital role in the manga. Now, Mahito and Geto aren't the only people who can manifest these wombs into flesh and blood vessels. In fact, all you need to do to turn a cursed womb into a flesh and blood vessel is insert the cursed womb into a human vessel, and then the death painting will incarnate through that human vessel. The quality of the human you're placing this womb into actually doesn't matter, as even humans with 0 cursed energy will still manifest a fully powered death painting. And all of these death paintings are considered special grade cursed spirits. However, they have an additional advantage that regular cursed spirits don't have. As they have flesh and blood bodies, they can be seen by non-sorcerers, which allows them to more easily blend into crowds or simply pass as humans, which makes some sorcerers have a very hard time differentiating whether or not they are cursed spirits. On top of this, after being killed, they don't disappear like regular cursed spirits, as they have a flesh and blood body that just gets left behind. And all 3 of the paintings have blood-related curse techniques, with Choso actually inheriting the prized technique of the Kamo family, which allows him to use things like piercing blood or exploding blood. Another example of a user of this technique is the blind guy with the bow from Kyoto, whose name is also Noritoshi Kamo. So cool, we now understand what a cursed womb death painting is. How does that pertain to Yuji? Well, in its most boiled down sense, a cursed womb death painting is half cursed spirit, half human. And we learned from a couple of ominous panels that that might be exactly what Itadori is. See, the first time that we got a hint that Itadori could be a cursed womb is when he was battling against Choso in the Shibuya incident. See, initially Choso was incredibly upset with Itadori, as Choso wants revenge for Itadori killing his 2 brothers, as Choso and his brothers were connected, with Choso being able to sense the status of his brothers. Therefore, the second that Choso's brothers died, he knew that they were dead. What's important to take from this is that Choso is able to sense the status of other death wombs. And as he begins to battle with Itadori, he begins to realize he can can feel Itadori's status. And the longer they fight, the longer Chozo has a nagging feeling that him and Itadori have a kinship, that they're family. And at this point, that Chozo is hit with a flashback that never happened of him, his two deceased brothers, and Itadori having a picnic together, like they were all one big happy family. And to this point, the Chozo comes to the realization that Yuji is his brother and lets Yuji go. And for the next 50 or so chapters, Chozo is obsessed with protecting Yuji, as Chozo is incredibly loyal to his brothers and couldn't protect his last two brothers. So Chozo takes any opportunity to be incredibly useful to Yuji. This alone was enough to make people start to scratch their heads. Why does Chozo believe that Yuji is his brother? I know when I read it, I just got confused. I thought it was kind of a Todo situation where Todo considered Yuji a brother, and the first assumption that I made is that Yuji has the ability to entrance men. The theory that Yuji and Chozo might actually be related got further substantiated a couple dozen chapters later, when we were shown a flashback into Yuji's birth, where Yuji's father Jin is holding up Yuji, arguing with his father, and Yuji's father is yelling, "I know you wanted a child with Kaori," Yuji's mother, and that didn't happen, but her death was, and then he gets cut off by Kaori, saying, "Father-in-law, what are you talking about?" Here's the thing though, Kaori is dead, or at least she should be, so far as we understand Yuji's grandfather. And yet Kaori is in the room having a conversation with the two of them, while Jin, Yuji's father, is holding the child that Kaori gave birth to. However, when you gaze upon Kaori's forehead, everything starts to make sense. See, Kaori has scars across her forehead, denoting stitches, denoting her brain has been opened up and probably replaced with the likes of Kenjaku, which draws us to one and only one logical conclusion, that Jin, after losing his wife, had Kenjaku take over his body so that he could continue living on with her and have the child he always wanted. And as Yuji's mother was Kenjaku and therefore a cursed spirit, that would make Yuji half cursed spirit. And that would make Kenjaku Yuji's mother or father. Doesn't matter, they're genderless. They are an entity that has existed for 1,000 years, hopping between bodies. And this has actually been confirmed to us, that Kenjaku was actually Yuji's parent, as before the start of the Culling game, Kenjaku as Geto. I'm sorry, if you couldn't make the connection between the scars and Geto already, that's on you. Woke up Yuji's childhood friend Sasaki, and since Sasaki's house was within the barrier of the Culling game, Geto escorted Sasaki out, as everybody who appears under the barrier of the Culling game is allowed to leave once. And while Geto is escorting Sasaki out of the barrier, he thanks Sasaki for being friends with his son, Yuji Itadori, which pretty much all but confirms that Yuji is the son of Kenjaku. Now, this is technically kind of a dream of Sasaki's because Sasaki awakes outside of the barrier, but it's a confirmation. Not to mention that Chozo actually finally puts all the pieces together that Yuji is his little brother while battling against Kenjaku, where upon realizing that Noritoshi Kamo has extended his life by transferring his brain, that nothing is impossible, and therefore Yuji is Chozo's little brother, confirming with 100% certainty that Yuji is in fact a death painting, which explains a lot. Yuji, before he even learned to use curse energy, was one of the strongest people on the planet. He was able to run faster than cars, throw balls further than Olympians. And now that he does have curse energy and a mastery over it, he's been shown to be able to battle toe-to-toe with some of the strongest beings in the entirety of JJK. So the real question becomes, why? Why does Kenjaku feel the need to become Yuji's parent? Why did Kenjaku switch into Kaori just to get railed by Yuji's dad? Did he just find Yuji's father attractive? Was he just trying to find a vessel to keep him alive for a couple decades, or is there something bigger behind all of it? My favorite current theory is that for some reason, Kenjaku wanted Kaori and Jin to have a child, or at the very least, Kenjaku wanted Jin to have a child. This could be for a lot of reasons, but the most clear and obvious reason that I see is that Jin was a powerful curse technique user, and because Jin was powerful, any child of his would operate perfectly as a vessel for Sukuna. So you remember that Kenjaku comes from the Heian period, the period where Sukuna ruled as the king of cursed spirits. However, it is also the age considered the golden age of Jujutsu, when many of the world's strongest Jujutsu sorcerers came together to battle against Sukuna and sealed him into 20 fingers. It's a possibility that Kenjaku was in cahoots with Sukuna, and therefore Kenjaku's biggest goal over the last 1,000 years is securing a powerful vessel for the reincarnation of Sukuna. And there's a precedent for this. See, we know that Tengen, the entity that keeps the barrier around Jujutsu High active at all times, actually reincarnates every 500 years using something known as a star plasma vessel, a person that's born every 500 years with the explicit purpose of Tengen taking over their body to use as a vessel. So it's a possibility that Kenjaku and Sukuna knew that in 1,000 years their vessel would be born. Therefore, in order to create that vessel and make sure that vessel was strong, Kenjaku took over Kaori's brain, not only making sure that the vessel was half cursed spirit, but also that that half cursed spirit came from him, making the vessel incredibly strong and incredibly suitable for Sukuna. This would make sense when we consider the fact that Noritoshi Kamo, who was Kenjaku, was heavily interested in the cursed wombs. He already has a track record for trying to make half-cursed spirit, half-human children. And it's a possibility that the research he did with the initial cursed wombs was actually just him trying to master creating a vessel down the line. A vessel that would be able to handle all 20 fingers. What do you guys think? Why do you think Kenjaku decided to get railed by Yuji's dad and be Yuji's mother? Was it so Yuji would hesitate to take his life if it ever came down to it? Or was it because Kaori had the gorilla grip and Kenjaku was curious about it? Tell me your guys' JJK theories in the comments below, and while you're down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. JJK is an absolute treasure trove of theories because nobody really fully understands it.